Hey there, I'm Brittni Schroeder, and business and marketing are my jam. I'm here to walk you step by step through this crazy thing we call business. I'm a small town girl, chocolate eating, Diet Coke drinking mom, marketing guru, automation Jedi, and all around good time. This is your weekly dose of all things business and life, sprinkled with some fun. This is the Redefine Business Podcast. Welcome to another episode of Redefine Business Podcast. I am thrilled for my guest today. I've talked about this before, that I host an entrepreneur lunch once a month in Utah. And Andie came to one of my lunches a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, I have to have you on the podcast. So fascinating. So Andie, welcome to the podcast. Andie Thueson. She is, what is it? You have to remind me again. Soul Purpose Coach.
Yes.
And she does Human Design and Astrology. And so I'm always just super fascinated and intrigued by Human Design, Enneagram, and astrology is one that this is a niche that I have to say that I have not seen a ton of. So I am super excited to have you on the podcast. Welcome, Andie.
Well, thank you for having me. I love introducing people into this world because it is my whole life.
Yeah, I love it. Well, tell my listeners a little bit about yourself and the things that you do.
Okay, so let's see where to start, right? That's always like the loaded question. Tell me about yourself. I have been in the online world since 2013. I was a health and wellness blogger, so that's where I started. And about 2018, 2019, I just was feeling like that wasn't aligned anymore. It didn't hit. It didn't make sense for me anymore. So I kind of went on this like soul journey, let's call it dark night of the soul, where everything came into question. The way that I was living my life, the way that I was moving through the world. And I had gone to an energy worker, a shaman, and she's like, you really need to check out Human Design. And I was like, I don't even know what that is. That sounds weird, but cool. I'll check it out. Thanks. I went home. I immediately ran my chart. And the more information I started to read and dive into, my whole life started to make sense in a way that it had never before. And it was almost like I had everything I read, everything just clicked. It was an information that I knew. And it's almost like I woke up and, realized I knew Chinese and I didn't know that I knew Chinese. It was a language I'd spoke. And, in high school and in my younger years, I always loved astrology. I was fascinated that you could look and read a horoscope and it just resonated. So that kind of came back full force with the Human Design because those two are very related. And from there, it was just this self-discovery and getting permission slips to live my life in a way that was more aligned. And when I started making these small shifts within myself, everything changed. And I was like, everyone needs to know about this, because when you make these small shifts, everything starts to work easier for you. Everything starts to just fall into place. And so I started doing readings, and that became coaching, and that became courses and then a podcast. And it really has just been this starting with myself and seeing so much radical transformation of self within myself. And then seeing that with the people that I worked with. I mean, at this point, I've read hundreds of charts, and seeing that light come back in people that they had been gone out for quite a while, and really kind of coming home and receiving permission slips to live in a way that was more authentic to who they truly are and not who they've been conditioned to be.
Okay, so I love that. So I am kind of a newbie. I've heard Human Design, but I am not super familiar with it. If you wanted to get a chart for Human Design, right?
Yes.
Then how would you go about doing that? Can you find them online? Is it better to go through somebody like you that actually knows how to do it? If you're new to Human Design, where do you start? Tell me the things.
I will tell you things. So there are several online calculators. It works very much like running a natal chart in astrology. So if you go to my site, andiethueson.com, there's a button at the top that says free resources. It will take you right to where you can run a free chart. And it is, you only need to know 3 bits of information. You need to know your time of birth, your place of birth, and your date of birth. And that is all that is needed. And then it will spit out this whole chart with all this really great information about you. And then from there, you can dive into podcasts, you can dive into, chat and Other AI will give you some things, but it's going to be pretty generic. So I always recommend starting with a full reading. I do a full deep dive reading. It's 2.5 hours long. So it is a bit of an investment, but we get into every single aspect of your chart. And I give plenty of time to really connect with you, see where you're struggling, and showing you how to now just not hear 2.5 hours of cool things about you, but like, how do we really make this tactical and practical to move beyond blind spots, to get out of where you're stuck in life and really start to make huge changes? Even just small shifts make huge changes. We know this, but really, how do we use this map from the stars to make a real change in our lives? And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. They're like, well, this is just woo woo, or it's, I always like to think, a lot of people are probably who listen to your show are Christian based. And they kind of maybe look at this like as, oh, I don't know about that. And I always like to say, like, why would a loving God, Heavenly Father, plop us down on earth and not give us any tools to help us understand why we're here? So I really think this is this is all based on star placements, and the planets which he created. So like, why would that be a guide to get us back to what we came here to do?
Yeah, no, I love that. Well, and I think too, like I'm always open to try new things. I remember I did an energy healing a million years ago, and I was doing a humanitarian trip in Haiti of all places. And one of the people that I was there with did energy healing, and she's a friend, and I was talking to her. She's like, let me do this energy healing. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I think it just like opens your mind to like just things that you normally like wouldn't think about. And why am I this way? Or, could it be this or whatever? And so I think the more we learn about ourselves, the more we can like utilize our strengths and recognize our weaknesses. And, and it's almost like a validating thing. Like, yes, this is a strength. This is me. Yes. And it's, like you said, it's like a roadmap. So like, I love that idea. I think this stuff is fun. It's so intriguing to me. Anytime I can learn more about myself, like it's just interesting. So, but how do people what are things like, how can the people apply this into their personal life, in their business? How do you use that?
Right. So when you get your chart, you're going to get so much information. It's going to feel really overwhelming. So I always like to say, once you know 3 things in human design, start there. And if human design boiled down to these 3 things, I would continue to teach it. There's lots of really good nuggets in there. We could go real deep, but you're going to be sorted into like 5 hats, like Harry Potter. Like you're going to be a reflector, a manifestor, a manifesting generator, a projector, or a generator. So you're going to be one of 5 energetic types. And each of those 5 energetic types move through the world in a very different way. So understanding how you're meant to move through the world, just on that alone, is huge. That just know, like I found out I was a projector, and projectors are like, they're about 20% of the population, and they are really here to see and not necessarily do. So they see systems. They're able to read people really well. They're able to see where things need to move and shift. And so when I understood that I'm actually not here to be constantly doing, I'm here to be more of this guide, my life started to make sense. I'm like, that's why I have a harder time keeping up with everybody. I'm not meant to be the Energizer bunny that's doing all the things. Like that's not how I'm here to function. And when I started shifting the way that I move my body, the way that I work out, even the way that I move through my days, my days are really more fluid. I have a lot more rest built in my days. The way that I work out has completely changed, and my body's never looked better. Like it changes everything. And then from there, we go to how you're meant to interact and receive answers from universal intelligence, God, whatever one wants, whatever everybody identifies with, is every single type has a different conversation that they're having. So have you ran your chart?
No.
Okay. No. I'm like, we should have run your chart before we recorded.
We should have. I actually, as I got on here, I wasn't trying to be rude before, but I was like, I just text my mom and be like, do you know what time I was born? I just text her, but she doesn't. She's old and she doesn't text back sometimes. Okay. So
well, if she happens to, while we're like, we'll like run it real quick. Yeah. Anyways, so based on what those 5 types are, that changes. And the way that you respond. So if you're a generator, you respond to life. So you're really meant to be in this beautiful dance with the universe. So the more that you're excited, the more you're lit up about life and doing what really brings you pleasure, which really brings you joy, when there's a whole lot of talk on social media right now, like if it's not a heck yes, it's a no, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's because generators and manifesting generators, that's 70% of the population. That's why it's resonating so deeply, because the more you follow what that internal yes is within you, the more life gets to be easy.
Yeah.
And you're not falling into frustration. You're not falling into like the stagnation. It really gets to be as easy. Does this make me happy?
Yeah.
Does this give me joy?
Yeah.
Yes. Then that's all the permission slips you need. You don't have to justify it.
Mm-hmm.
And when we understand that about ourselves, that's what I'm saying, everything starts to shift and change. And then we have our authority. And that is our body's tell about how to make decisions. So when we know how our body's speaking to us based on our human design, we know how to understand it. So some people are going to be feelings. They're going to understand through a feeling in their body. Some people, it's going to be that sacral gut yes. Some people, it's going to be more an intuitive knowing of things. Some people, it's going to be like, what are your desires? Your desires are meant to lead you through life. Some people, it's like, I love my, they're called self-proclaimed authorities. Oh my goodness, she sent her authority. There we go.
Yeah.
It's really like them talking it out and hearing the answer when they speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or just a sounding board. And that's how they hear and get the answer from their body. And other people, it's their mental authority. It's like really kind of weighing things out and seeing pros and cons. And that's how they're meant to make their decision. But if you're an emotional authority and you're trying to weigh out pros and cons, you're going to get in your own way.
Yeah.
Because you're over intellectualizing when you're not meant to.
Yeah. It reminds me, I actually had a coach on here a while back, and she was the self-trust coach. No, I was on her podcast. I'm trying to remember. I was on her podcast, but we were kind of talking about that. And no, she was on mine. Oh my gosh, I don't even know. But anyways, but it kind of makes me think of that, where it is like, I feel like when you know yourself, then you trust yourself. So it's like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm going to move this direction in my business or my life. And I feel like just knowing like your human design or astrology, like it gives you confidence and the trust in yourself. So you're like, yes, this is who I am. So I feel good about this. And I bet that's just like really powerful. Like
it's so powerful.
Business and life, you know?
Yeah. So now I know that I'm an emotional projector. So I'm meant to make decisions based on my emotions. So that's very counterproductive to everything we've ever been told, is like, oh, don't be emotional. Don't make emotional decisions. You need to think things out. And so I was fighting against that. I would feel like something felt really good in my body, but like on paper, it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right? Like I got to my mind and started to try to make an intellectual decision, and I would get in my own way. But now that I know, oh, I'm meant to trust my emotions. My emotions are actually what's guiding me throughout this life. I trust myself and how I feel about something more than if it makes sense on paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's shifted everything.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I also think too, and I'm thinking of business because that's what I do. But I think I come, when I'm working with clients sometimes, like the marketing part of it's hard for people. And I think a lot of times in business, people are seeing what other people are doing, and they think, I have to do it this way because so-and-so did it this way. But it goes against who they are, you know?
100%.
Like, have you ever seen somebody and they're on social media and they're talking or they're doing something and you're like, okay, I have secondhand embarrassment. Like, it's so uncomfortable and awkward for them. You know what I mean? And so, and I tell people all the time, like, you have to find what you are comfortable doing and what you feel good at. Because if you are not passionate and don't have the confidence, like, you will not be consistent. Like,
no.
It might, social media might not be for you. And I love that. I love that people are like, I'm speaking to coaches and they're like, I don't like social media. And I'm like, well, guess what? Like, you don't have to do social media to be successful. Like, there's other ways to build your business, you know? But I agree with you that I think a lot of times in society, we kind of are like we're followers, we're sheep. I'm going to do this because so-and-so did this. But we have to know what we're good at, right?
Right. And that person might be a generator, they're a Leo. They have all this energy that they're meant to shine in an audience. They're meant to be really bright. So you're trying to go on social media, but you're more of a passive energy. You're lean into what makes you. And that's one of my favorite things to do with my coaching clients is like, let's make a plan for your business that is inherently based on your strengths. So if you're a projector, you need to show up and guide people. You need to show your perspective. You need to see show how you see the world. What's your unique way of seeing things? If you're a generator, what's truly lighting you up right now? What are you excited about? If there's a piece of content that like, you're just like, oh, I need to respond to that. Like respond, stitch. Yeah. For generators, stitching all day long. Like if there's something you have a visceral, like, oh, I need to respond to that, do it.
Yeah.
Because that you're in your magic, you're in that flow. And then we look at your astrology chart and there's so many fun things to take from that, that layers on top of your human design, because I want to know where your midheaven is. I want to know where some very specific placements are, because that shows me what kind of flavor you should have to your social media. So for me, mine's in Libra. So I know that my aesthetics need to be pretty. They're going to land a little bit when I play with how things look aesthetically. So aesthetics are going to be a big part of my brand. But if I had a Scorpio midheaven, it's going to be deep and depth that needs to be portrayed in the way that I present myself.
Okay, I'm a Cancer. So what? Okay. Tell me what?
Okay, so that's what's fun. I'm a Cancer too. So I love that we're both Cancers. Anyway, so Cancer, your sun is like this little tiny part of the way that you're meant to show up, and your like astrology chart, your human design. There's so many. So it's adding so much more to the conversation. But as a Cancer, you're deeply empathetic and deeply caring, right? And you feel so much more than everybody else, right? You're just a deeply feeling person. So you're going to want to have a lot of deep empathy and deep caring in the way that you present yourself. Even people are going to feel that mothering energy from you very deeply when you allow it. Right. A lot of us Cancers, especially growing up in the 90s, where emotions were not necessarily a positive thing. I don't know how many times I heard, I'll give you a reason to cry. Because I was so emotional all the time. Like I also have like a Scorpio moon. So I have a lot of water on my chart. I feel everything on a very deep level.
I do too.
And what did I learn to do? Hide my emotions. Right. Like, so the more that we can allow ourselves to be emotional, to be that motherly archetype that's going to help people feel their feelings. You probably do it a lot in your coaching, where you feel like half the time you're almost like mothering people into what they need to be doing. Right. Like it just comes inherently, because that's what we do. That's our archetype. But because we have that deep empathy, we're able to put ourselves in other people's shoes and hold their hand, where a lot of people might be uncomfortable with that.
Yeah, no, that is me to a T. Like I'm an empath. Like especially for like younger people, like kids. And maybe it's because like I have a teenage daughter, but I am such an empath. Like I'm always just like, and I'm very intuitive. Like I pick up, like the kids will kind of laugh at me because I'll say, "Are you okay?" And they're like, "No." And I go, "Do you forget my superpower?" Like I know something is wrong. And I really like, and I'm almost always right that like, okay, yeah. And then they start talking to me, but like, it's definitely like a gift, but it's definitely like, it can be very heavy too, because I feel other people's emotions.
Yeah. I can, you could probably walk into a room and know everybody's emotional temperature before they even say a word.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's deeply water sign.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. When's your birthday? What's your day?
July 5th.
Okay. I'm June 28th. So,
okay. So you're a June.
Yeah. A June Cancer. Yeah. So, well, I love that. Well, I want to do a reading with you. I'm like so fascinated by this, but tell my listeners how they can find you or how they can work with you.
Yeah, the best place is to start on andiethueson.com. You can book a reading there. You can run your chart. I have lots of free resources. I also have my own podcast that Brittni's going to be on very soon. It's called Own Your Peace, where we dive into all the juicy things. And hopefully by then we'll have your birth time so we can dive into your chart.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Yeah, we'll bring that into the chat on the podcast. But I'm also on social media. I'm probably most active on Instagram, and it is The Real Andie Thueson is my handle there.
Awesome. Well, this has been so fun, and I'm excited to be on your podcast. So Andie, tell my listeners, I like to end all of my podcasts with 2 questions. So tell my listeners first, what is a pet peeve? And then secondly, a simple pleasure. So what's your pet peeve?
Okay. So I had to think, I've been listening to a couple of your podcast episodes when I knew I was going to be on, because I always like to what's your vibe? Like, what am I into? And I heard that, I'm like, pet peeves. That's such like a, I have lots, but what is a good one to share? I think my biggest pet peeve is when people become a victim in their story.
That is how I'm too. Is that a Cancer thing too? Because I'm just like that too.
Yeah,
drives me crazy.
And I can see where they're holding themselves back.
Yes, 100%.
And I'm like, oh, if you could just see what I see in you, like you're so powerful, you're so strong. And that story right there needs to go.
Yeah.
And that's what's holding you back. Because I always say your stories can be your leg up or they can be your crutch. You get to choose.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Okay. Simple pleasure.
Oh my goodness. Being at the beach, feet, toes in the sand, water lapping, throw me on a beach any day. That is a simple pleasure. But we're landlocked in Utah. So that's not something I get to do a whole lot.
Yeah.
So just like yesterday, it was like the first warm day here and just going outside and like letting the sun soak me and just feeling it. Like I had my little swig water and it was like the most magical moment and I loved it.
Yeah. I'm
a sun girl.
I know. Yesterday, and it's that time of year in Utah right now where it's like heaters on in the morning and air conditioners on in the afternoon. And yesterday was definitely like sweating day. It was like hot.
Yeah. So, I had put on layers. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I know. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Andie. This has been so fun. And I give Andie a follow and go and check her out. She's got a lot of great content. So thanks, Andie.
Thank you.
Let's not stop the party here. Head on over to my Instagram or Facebook group, Redefine Your Business, and let me know your thoughts about today's show. I will see you again, same time, same place, next week.